A message from the video's producer. This video was recorded November 25th, but is being posted November 30th due to technical difficulties. Thank you very much.
Hello, Local 304. Time for another business manager update. And start off with a little bit of somber news. Local 304 lost long-term member Stan Heffernan, better known as Woofy. I think that you talk to those that knew him and they'd tell you he was a lineman's lineman. The guy was an icon. Probably mentored more apprentices than any other journeyman in our local. So while we take a minute to think about his passing, it's also take a couple of minutes to celebrate his life that he shared with Local 304 and its members and the line craft. So thanks, Woofy, for everything you did for us, and take care, brother. Let's have a little bit of this mask discussion. It's hearing it from a lot of our contracts, and I think we have to look at it like this. IBEW was formed for safety reasons years and years ago, and this pandemic is a hazard, and the mask is a way of us mitigating that hazard. And that fits in with what OSHA's expectation is. There's been over $2 million of fines issued by OSHA so far this year for the COVID violations, not offering a safe work environment. So while we, just like any other safety rule, that we like to be able to have a say in where and when that mask is required, this is a little bit different because it's coming from KDHE and CDC and other organizations. So the companies are just following the guidelines that are supposed to be there. So it is our duty to make sure that we embrace whatever safety we can in order to keep ourselves, our fellow members, and our families safe. So I know this is tough, and we're starting to wear masks here in the office because we want to try to flatten this curve a little bit. It's really uncontrolled right now. So that's where I believe we should be on the mask, is using it whenever it's important for us to be able to help slow or stop the spread. Our COVID numbers continue to grow. We are starting to get numbers now from some of our other contracts. Kansas Gas is finally going to start reporting weekly to us starting next week. With Evergy, Local 304 has been averaging about 6 cases a week for the past 4 or 5 weeks, but the last 2 weeks, the numbers have grown to about 8 a week. So we just need to be paying attention to that. And I know a lot of that, too, comes from the consistency of how we're being treated whenever somebody is tested positive, or how we do the quarantine. And so there is opportunities for us to have discussions about those things. So stay in touch with the office. Concerns you have over any of that stuff, the mask, the quarantining, the consistency, we need to know those issues so that we can address them appropriately. One of the things that we've talked a lot about in Evergy was that we wanted to be able to have those that can't take vacation be able to roll over a little extra vacation. Doesn't look like we're going to be successful with that. So I apologize to those of you that the few of you that are having vacations declined. But again, those are things I need to know, because whenever I talk to the company, they assure me that everybody is having, for the most part, the opportunity to take vacation. Along with Evergy, the unions are still working on that system council. I believe that the International is starting to give us a little more guidance. So hopefully that's going to continue to move forward, and we can get started with the master agreement negotiations as soon as possible. Just a little history on some grievances. I think it's important that we celebrate some of our accomplishments. So Local 304 had a unjust discipline on a 1-day suspension, and we were able to uphold that grievance and get that money back to the grievant. So that's a win for us, and we've got a couple more that look like they're getting pretty close to settlement that'll be mutually acceptable by both parties. We do still have some arbitrations pending, so stay in touch with your stewards and unit chairs so you can keep up on what's going on with that, because obviously a harm to one is a harm to all, right? And we need to be making sure that if that pinch is on the east end of the state, that pain is felt on the west end of the state, because that's the only way we're going to continue to grow the labor movement through Local 304. I think you all remember that Gator has resigned his position as East End assistant, and he needs to go back to work to reset his pension formula. So Jason Ianacone has taken his place. Today, we were able to get the phone switched over, so when you call Gator's number, don't be surprised if you hear Jason's voice. And so I wanted to take a minute to introduce Jason to you all so that you'll know who he is. So here's Jason.
Hi, this is Chad Manspeaker, your local organizer, and I got a chance to sit down and talk with the new East End assistant, Jason Ianacone, and just wanted to give Jason a minute to tell you a little bit about himself.
Yes. So my name is Jason Ianacone. My history within my professional career, after going to college for a couple of years, I decided it wasn't for me. Joined the nuclear Navy on submarines, where I was in radiation protection and chemistry. After I got out of there, worked at Dothan, Alabama, that Farley nuclear plant as a radiation protection technician. They were non-union when I first got there, and they were in the middle of organizing. So I got to be, one of my first labor experiences was getting to be in an organizing campaign. Became a part of Local 796, IBW. Down there, wasn't really involved, paid my dues, went to a few meetings, and that was about it. And then after working there for 3 years, moved to Kansas, worked at Wolf Creek Nuclear Plant, where we were local 225 at the time. Started getting involved because I didn't like the direction things were going. I was a steward, and then I ran and became recording secretary, and then president, and then in 2017 I became business manager. After that, we started exploring becoming part of 304 again, and process was called amalgamation, which is kind of like a merger, but we just ended up becoming part of 304, and that finally finished last year, September of 2019, and where I became working 1 day a week with 304 for the Wolf Creek assistant. And then now with Gator's retirement, I interviewed and was awarded the job of becoming the new East End assistant for 304.
And what are you looking most forward to in your job at 304?
What I'm looking forward to the most is being able to meet more than just nuclear plant workers and power plant in general, and get to see all the different aspects of what 304 represents. And then what I hope to be able to work for is to have more than just these pairs, and like having everybody understanding that we all have a voice and that we need to use that voice if we want to see real change. We can't rely on other people to make it happen for us.
Thank you, Jason. Thanks for that. I'm sure the membership will look forward to gaining insight from you and vice versa. I've heard that there's some REAs. One of the unit meetings the guys did the other night, there's some REAs that would like to get together. You know, KEPCO being the management side of the REAs, all the REA managers get together, and so the brothers would like to do the same thing. And so we're exploring ways that we can do that. Right now with this pandemic going on, we probably will have to do virtual meetings, but I'd like to get the unit chair and the steward, unless they're the same, together from all of our REAs. And so if there's others that are interested in that, you know, I've said this in the last couple of videos that I know there's some opportunities to educate the membership, and actually Zoom or the Teams, the virtual meetings that we can hold are more efficient than the face-to-face meetings, because you don't have to worry about the drive time and all those things, and you can actually do those virtual meetings right from the comfort of your own home. So I would like to take these opportunities. We can do the REA virtual meetings, but we could also do others that way. Again, this political season has been so divisive on our memberships. I was watching something on the national news this morning. They were talking about using couples therapy on Republicans and Democrats to try to not have such a separation in our society right now. And I think we as union members need to embrace that too, that we need to remember why it is that we get involved in politics. And the obvious reason is that labor law needs to be in favor of labor unions, and law comes from legislators. So we need to be involved in that political world to make sure that our voice is heard when they're making the rules. And that doesn't have anything to do with party. That doesn't mean that it has to be Democrats or Republicans. It means that legislators need to do that. You know, I've been a proponent all along to say it's one thing to be partisan when it comes to elections, that once they are elected, they work for you. It doesn't matter what party you are or what party they are, they work for you. But the only way they know that is if you pound that into them, and that's where we need to be more involved in that. So I really do want to take some opportunity to do some education. One of the things that I'd really like to have is an active membership. I'd like to be able to if there's a grievance filed, if there's an information request, if there's anything out there that's going on, the members should be communicating that with their supervision. Excuse me, so that management understands it's not just the union leadership that is asking for this information or filing this grievance, that it really does have the effect on the boots on the ground. So we're going to work for that, and any insight you guys have, please share that with me, because in order for us to be successful, we got to want to be successful. The last thing I want to talk about is, maybe the next to last thing. We're still line clearance. We still don't have our negotiation dates set for that yet. They should be coming pretty soon. It's normally in December that we sit down with the companies. But we're still trying to work on a training program, and I'd still like Local 304 to be the front runner in that. And we found through the Department of Commerce that one party can start an apprenticeship. And so I'd like Local 304 to start that apprenticeship. There's minimal impact to the companies that way, but there's a lot of growth. I should say minimal impact in the company operations, but there's a lot of growth opportunities within the employee base through Local 304. So more information to come on that. I just want you to keep that on the radar. Now the last thing is with Thanksgiving holiday. You know, every year I like to say now it's time that we can down low with our family and sit around the table and break bread and have great conversations. This year may be a little different with everything going on with this pandemic. But please take time to separate from everything that we do every day and spend some time with family, whether that's face-to-face or virtually, and that's what it's all about. That's what we work for. So Local 304, thank you for everything you do, and let's keep moving this labor movement forward. Y'all have a safe and happy holiday.